Hello students, last lecture we discussed about the solutions and various properties. Now today we are going to study colligative properties. What are colligative properties? I already told you that colligative properties of non-electrolyte solutions. These are the physical properties of solutions that depend on the number of solute particles in the solutions and not on their nature. They are called as colligative properties. So they depend only upon the number of solute particles and they don't depend upon their nature. They depend on number. So today we are going to see four colligative properties. The first colligative property is vapor pressure lowering. The next one is boiling point elevation. Third one is freezing point depression. And the fourth one is osmotic pressure. Vapor pressure lowering. What is vapor pressure? First we'll see what exactly vapor pressure is. When a liquid in a closed container is in equilibrium with its vapors, the pressure exerted by the vapor on the liquid is its vapor pressure. I'll repeat the definition again. When a liquid in a closed container is in equilibrium with its vapor, the pressure exerted by the vapor on the liquid is its vapor pressure. So here you can see in this diagram we have two beakers. In case A we have only pure solvent and case B we have solution. That is, in the same solvent we have added solute and formed a solution. Both those beakers we have closed with a bell jar. The difference you can see that in case A more number of molecules have evaporated and in case B less number of molecules have evaporated. What is the difference between them? Why this case is so? Because in case A you can see evaporation is always a surface phenomenon. And here in case of A, that is in case of pure solvent, the number of solvent molecules on the surface is more. So therefore, more number of molecules they get evaporated. Whereas in case of B you can see on the surface there are solvent molecules and also there are solute molecules. Both are present. So availability of solvent molecule is less. So therefore number of molecules evaporating in case of B is less. Now one more important thing I want to tell you. In the previous case, that is in the definition we have seen that equilibrium. What is equilibrium? Now a case comes that is evaporation and condensation. There are two phenomena, that is evaporation and condensation. When the liquid gets evaporated, that is vaporization will take place. Whereas these vapors they come back into liquid state, which is called as condensation. A time will come when evaporation and condensation both the rates are equal. For example, if 50 molecules get evaporated, 50 molecules will get condensed. So this is called as evaporation. Again we'll come back to our definition. When a liquid is in a closed container, it is in equilibrium. When there is equilibrium state with its vapors, the pressure exerted by the vapor on the liquid is called its vapor pressure. Now here those molecules which have evaporated, when they will come back or when they will exert a pressure on the liquid, that is called as vapor pressure. Now here you can see in case of pure solvent, that is in case A, more molecules have evaporated, whereas in case of B less molecules have evaporated. So in case of A, the vapor pressure exerted will be more. More vapor pressure is exerted because more molecules have evaporated. Whereas in case of B, less molecules have evaporated and so therefore less pressure is exerted. And this is lowering of vapor pressure. In short, I have told you. Now we'll see this in some deep manner. Why the vapor pressure of solution containing non-volatile solute is lower than that of pure solvent. What is the reason? The same that we have seen. I'll explain you again. Vapor pressure of liquid depends on the ease with which the molecules escape from the surface of the liquid. When non-volatile solute is dissolved in a solvent, some of the surface molecules of the solvent are replaced by non-volatile solute molecules. These solute molecules they do not contribute to the vapor above the solution. Thus, the number of solvent molecules available for vaporization per unit surface area of solution is less than the number at the surface of pure solvent. As a result, the solvent molecules at the surface of the solution vaporize at a slower rate than the pure solvent. This results in lowering of vapor pressure because here you can see the number of solvent molecules are less in case of A. So therefore you can in case of B, the solvent molecules evaporated are less. So therefore the vapor pressure is also less, and this is called as lowering of vapor pressure. Mathematically we'll see now. If P01 is the vapor pressure of pure solvent and P1 is the vapor pressure of solvent above the solution. Again I will repeat, P01 is the vapor pressure of pure solvent. For pure solvent we have P01, and for solution if we have P1. For you all to understand, if P01 is the vapor pressure of A and P1 is the vapor pressure of B, so therefore you can see now P1 is less than P01. Always remember, P1 is less, that is vapor pressure of solution is lower or is less than that of pure solvent. So vapor pressure lowering, that is delta P, delta is lowering, so therefore delta P, that is change, delta P which is equal to P01 minus P1. Now we are going to see Raoult's law for solutions of non-volatile solutes. What exactly Raoult's law states? In solutions of non-volatile solutes, the law is applicable only to volatile solvent. Now what this law states, what exactly Raoult's law states, we are going to see that. The law states that vapor pressure of solvent over the solution is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent multiplied by its mole fraction in the solution. I'll repeat again, the law states that vapor pressure of solvent over the solution is equal to the vapor pressure of pure solvent multiplied by its mole fraction in the solution. Thus, P1, that is vapor pressure of solution, which is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent. See now, the law states that vapor pressure of solvent, what is vapor pressure of solvent? P1. Over the solution is equal to, you can see the is equal to sign, which is equal to vapor pressure of pure solvent, that is P01 into mole fraction of the solvent. So that is equal to X1. So this is mathematically Raoult's law. Now for binary solutions containing one solute. When you have binary solution, so we have X1 which is equal to mole fraction of the solute, which is equal to 1 minus X2. It therefore follows that P1 which is equal to P01 into X1. So which is equal to, but we already know that X1 is equal to 1 minus X2. We have inserted this P01 which is equal to P01 into X2. So therefore P01 minus P1 which is equal to P01 into X2. So this defines that P01 minus P1 as delta P. We have seen this already in the previous slide, that is delta P which is equal to P01 minus P1. So therefore delta P, so delta P is equal to P01 into X2. Now relative lowering of vapor pressure. What is relative lowering of vapor pressure? Relation. When you relate someone, she is my mother. So when you relate it when there are two cases. So in the same way you are relating the vapor pressure with something. It is a ratio. The ratio of vapor pressure lowering of solvent divided by the vapor pressure of pure solvent. When you are relating the vapor pressure of the solution or when you are relating it with the pure solvent. See now, the ratio of vapor pressure lowering of solvent divided by the vapor pressure of pure solvent. How much it is lowered with respect to the pure solvent, that we are going to see. So relative lowering of vapor pressure, that is equal to delta P. Just see the numerators. We have seen this derivation, that is delta P is equal to P01 minus P1. Both LHS and RHS we are dividing it by P01, so value remains same. Delta P which is equal to P01 minus P1. So both we are dividing, so therefore we have delta P divided by P01 which is equal to P01 minus P1 divided by P01. Now this equation shows that in the previous equation, see over here we have seen that delta P which is equal to P01 into X2. So therefore you can say that delta P divided by P01 is equal to X2. So therefore we have delta P divided by P01 which is equal to X2. So which is equal to P01 minus P1 divided by P01. Now molar mass of solute from vapor pressure lowering. Relative lowering of vapor pressure is equal to mole fraction of solute in the solution. That is, we already know delta P divided by P naught 1 is equal to x2. But we know that mole fraction of a component of a solution is equal to its moles divided by the total number of moles in the solution. We have already seen this in 11th standard, that is x2 is equal to n2 upon n1 plus n2. Now we'll just insert this, just see now. Now where n1 and n2, what are n1 and n2? n1 and n2 are the moles of solvent and solute respectively in the solution. Now when we are concerned only with dilute solutions, that is the number of solute molecules is very less. Large amount of solvent is present but the number of solute molecules is less. So what will happen? We are concerned only with dilute solutions, and hence we see that N1 is very larger as compared to N2. So N1 plus N2 is approximately equal to N1. Then the mole fraction X2 is given by, therefore from this, if we remove N2 from the denominator, what will we get? X2 is equal to N2 divided by N1. And therefore, but we already know that x2 is equal to delta P divided by P naught 1. So therefore delta P divided by P naught 1 is equal to N2 upon N1. Now suppose that we prepare a solution by dissolving W2 gram of solute in W1 gram of solvent. The moles of solute and solvent in the solution are then N2 is equal to W2 upon M2 and N1 is equal to W1 upon M1, where M1 and M2 are molar mass of solvent and solute respectively. So N2 is equal to, we already know that number of moles. How to calculate number of moles? Number of moles is equal to weight upon molar mass. So N2 is equal to W2 upon M2 and N1 is equal to W1 upon M1. Now substituting these values, we get x2 is equal to delta P divided by P naught 1, which is equal to W2 upon M2 divided by W1 upon M1. So therefore P naught 1, but delta P is nothing but P naught 1 upon P1, which is equal to delta P. Now both denominators we can divide it by P naught 1. So therefore P naught 1 minus P1 divided by P naught 1, which is equal to delta P divided by P naught 1, which is equal to W2 into M1 divided by W1 into M2 or M2 into W1. See, one problem we'll see from your textbook. A solution is prepared by dissolving 394 gram of a non-volatile solute in 622 gram of water. The vapor pressure of solution is found to be 30.74 mmHg at 30 degrees Celsius. If vapor pressure of water at 30 degrees Celsius is 31.8 mmHg, what is the molar mass of solute? Now what all is given, we have to first see that. A solution is prepared by dissolving 394 gram of non-volatile solute. So that is W2, which is 394 gram. W1, that is in 622 gram of water. So weight of solute is given, weight of solvent is also given. And molar mass of water you already know, H2O. So therefore 18 gram per mole. Now what else is given? Vapor pressure of solution is found to be 30.74 mmHg. So therefore P1 is equal to 30.74 mmHg and P naught 1, which is equal to 31.8 mmHg. Substitution of these quantities into the equation. Now what equation we have already seen, that is, see this equation, P naught 1 minus P1 divided by P naught 1, which is equal to delta P upon P, which is equal to W2 into M1 divided by M2 into W1. So just inserting it, we solve it mathematically and you get this answer. Next colligative property, boiling point elevation. Elevation means increase, elevation, elevated means increase in boiling point. So what exactly is boiling point? First we'll see that. Boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which its vapor pressure equals the applied pressure. I'll repeat again, boiling point of a liquid is the temperature at which its vapor pressure is equal to applied pressure. You all know that water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. But sugar syrup will not boil at 100 degrees Celsius. More temperature will be required. It means that temperature of pure solvent, for example water, is 100. But sugar syrup of the same water will not boil at 100. It will boil at temperature more than 100. So this means boiling point is elevated. It is increased. Now why it is increased? What is the reason? We'll see that. it has been found that boiling point of a solvent is elevated by dissolving a non-volatile solute into it. Thus, the solutions containing non-volatile solutes boil at temperatures higher than the boiling point of a pure solvent. So, boiling point is elevated or boiling point is increased. Pure solvents, they have less boiling point, whereas when solute is added to that pure solvent, the boiling point is elevated or the boiling point is increased. We will see this now. If T naught B is the boiling point of pure solvent and TB of the solution. Now here you can see if T naught B is the boiling point of pure solvent and TB that of the solution. So always remember TB is greater than TB naught. That is, boiling point of solution is always greater than boiling point of pure solvent. The difference between the boiling point of solution and that of pure solvent at any given constant pressure is called boiling point elevation. Now elevation and boiling point, which means boiling point of solution minus boiling point of pure solvent. Because always remember, boiling point of solution is more and boiling point of pure solvent is less. So boiling point is increased. Now graphically when you see this graph, with this graph you can understand it more properly. You can see two curves. In this graph you will see two curves, that is that is vapor pressure, temperature of pure solvent and that of the solution. In this curves you can see two cases. If you see properly, we have two curves, that is curve CD and curve AB. What first you see when you see this graph? That curve CD is lower than curve AB. It lies below. Curve CD lies below curve AB. Curve CD, that is this is of solution, and curve AB is of pure solvent. Fine. Now see, if you see properly, focus on the graph and see what you can see in this. In case of this graph, you can see properly the intersection of these curves. If you see the intersection of curve CD with the corresponding line to 670 mm of Hg, that is vapor pressure line and temperature line. 670 mm of Hg, the intersection of curve CD followed by temperature axis, you can see that it falls on TB point. Fine. Boiling point of the solution. The intersection of the curve CD with the line corresponding to 670 mm Hg is the boiling point of solution. Similar intersection of curve AB. Similar intersection of curve AB you can see is the boiling point of pure solvent. So it is clear from this figure that boiling point TB of the solution is higher than that of T naught B. Now why this case is, why boiling point is elevated, what exactly happens? See now, at the boiling point of liquid, its vapor pressure is equal to 1 atmosphere. In order to reach boiling point, the solution and the solvent must be heated to a temperature at which their respective vapor pressures attain 1 atmosphere. Now it has to increase so that its vapor pressure it attains 1 atmosphere, and in order to increase that, temperature should increase. Initially it was boiling, that is the solvent was boiling at 1 atmosphere, pure solvent. But when you are adding solute to it and when you are forming a solution, it won't boil at 1 atmosphere. So therefore, because we have seen already this in previous slide, that is vapor pressure lowering. Vapor pressure is lowered, so in order to increase the vapor pressure, temperature should also be increased, and temperature should be increased from T naught B to TB. So this is called as elevation. That is, always remember, you can see on the x-axis, that is T naught B is less and TB lies ahead. So therefore here you can see that there is increase in increase in boiling point because vapor pressure is lowered. Colligative properties are interrelated with each other. First we saw elevation, lowering of vapor pressure. Same case is applicable here because the vapor pressure of the solvent is lowered. So it is less than 1 atmosphere. In order to increase the vapor pressure, naturally the temperature should be increased. So temperature should be increased, heat should be supplied, and this is called as elevation. And this is elevation in boiling point. So elevation in boiling point is also related with your first colligative property, that is lowering of vapor pressure. the same case as you can see over here, the vapor pressure temperature curves of the solution, you can relate it. CD always lies below that of the solvent AB. I'll show you the figure back. That is, vapor pressure of AB is ahead, or you can say it is above vapor pressure curve of solvent. Vapor pressure temperature curve, you can say, of solvent is always ahead or is always above the vapor pressure temperature curve of the solution. Next, you can see the difference between the vapor pressure increases as temperature and vapor pressure increases as predicted by this equation. We have already seen this, delta P, which is equal to x2 into P01. Now the intersection of these two curves, we have seen this as corresponding line of 670 mm Hg on the vapor pressure curve is, that is on the y-axis, it is what? It is in this case. So both the intersections we have seen on y-axis and on the x-axis, and hence it is clear from this figure that the boiling point is increased, or there is elevation in boiling point. Now boiling point, elevation and concentration of solute. Now we are going to see elevation in boiling point and concentration of solute. This is important. Delta TB, that is elevation in boiling point, is directly proportional to M. M, that is molality. Therefore, delta TB, which is equal to Kb into M. What is Kb? This is proportionality constant, which is also called as ebullioscopic constant, or it is also called as molar elevation constant. So if we have molality, that is M is equal to 1, therefore we get that delta TB is equal to Kb. So the ebullioscopic constant is the boiling point elevation produced by 1 molar solution. So definition of Kb, you can say that ebullioscopic constant is boiling point elevation produced by 1 molar solution. What is the unit of Kb? Naturally, delta TB divided by M, which is equal to, delta TB means that will come in temperature, so it will come in Kelvin, divided by moles per kg, which is equal to K kg per mole. Molar mass of solute from boiling point elevation. How to calculate molar mass of solute? Now we have delta TB is equal to Kb into M. Now suppose we are preparing a solution by dissolving W2 gram of solute in W1 gram of solvent. Moles of solute in W1 gram of solvent, which is equal to W2 upon M2. Because we have seen this number of moles, how to calculate? Number of moles always depend upon weight upon molar mass. So N2 is equal to W2 upon M2, we can say. So here you can say mass of solvent, which is equal to W1 gram, which is equal to W1 gram divided by 1000 kg, 1000 gram per kg, which is equal to W1 upon 1000 kg. Now we have expression for molality. We have already seen this last year also. We have seen that is in 11th standard. Molality is number of moles of solute divided by mass of solvent in kg. So which is equal to W2 upon M2 mole divided by W1 upon 1000 kg. So that is equal to 1000 into W2 divided by M2 into W1 mole per kg. Substitution of this value of M, we get, see now delta TB, we have seen that delta TB is equal to Kb into M. So just substitute this, delta TB is equal to Kb, and M is nothing but 1000 into W2 divided by M2 into W1. Hence M2 is equal to 1000 into Kb into W2 divided by delta TB into W1. This is important. So M2 is equal to M2 is equal to 1000 into Kb into W2 divided by delta TB into W1. So this is very, very important. See that you go through it. Molar mass of solute and all. Revise it properly. See all the qualitative properties.